everyone, my name is Thuy-vy Nguyen. Thank you for having me, and I'm excited to tell you more about my research looking at the role of solitude in regulating daily emotion. I want to first start with a conceptualization of solitude. Solitude can be a physical state of being away from other people, or it is also commonly defined as a subjective state of being free from immediate contacts and demands of other people. This conceptualization allows researchers to distinguish solitude from other concepts like loneliness, social isolation, or social exclusion. So we recently published a paper in Social and Personality Psychology Compass calling for a clear conceptualization of solitude as well as how we operationalize it in research. Depending on how we conceptualize and operationalize solitude, this concept can be studied in a variety of different research design, and this also allows us to capture a variety of different dimensions of solitude. In our lab research, we've used a variety of methodologies, including experimental design, survey-based research, specifically relying on ecological momentary assessment, as well as qualitative interviews to understand the role of solitude in emotion and stress regulation. In our experimental work, we operationalized solitude with a paradigm where we brought participants into the lab to stay alone for a brief period of time, usually about 15 or 30 minutes. We tracked participant emotion before and after solitude. So we use a framework that categorizes emotion in dimensions of valence. You can see here going from negative emotion on the left to positive emotion on the right. We also consider the activation dimension by distinguishing emotions that are high on arousal presented at the top and those that are low on arousal presented at the bottom. Our lab has conducted a series of studies where we invited people into the room to sit alone with themselves, either with their thoughts, sometimes with a reading, or browsing passively on their devices. Consistently across all those situations, we found that a brief period of solitude caused high arousal emotion, both positive and negative, to drop, and a slight increase in low arousal emotion, both positive and negative. This finding was particularly significant because previously and commonly, solitude has been studied in relation to negative experiences like loneliness and isolation. When researchers measured emotion only on the valence from going from negative emotion to positive emotion, they found that solitude is associated with lower positive emotion and higher negative emotion. However, when we looked at emotion in both valence and activation dimensions, we found that solitude has what we named the deactivation effect on emotional activation, referring to the drop in high arousal emotion after a brief period of solitude experience. This deactivation effect of brief period of solitude in experimental design has been replicated in several follow-up studies by my lab as well as other people's lab. This effect provides the foundation for work that look at solitude and its role in emotion regulation process. So the next question that our lab is pursuing is what situation in our daily life that might bring us to desire solitude more. So if solitude has the deactivation effect on emotion activation through bringing down our high arousal emotion, do our emotion also play a part in explaining why we have this temporary desire for solitude as we go on with our daily activities? In another study, using ecological momentary assessment, we sent signals to participant phone every hours between 8 a.m. and 10 p.m. to collect data about their alone time and social time throughout the day. In this study, we are interested in the link between emotions and solitude seeking. We recruited 362 participants to fill out hourly survey for one day. We discovered that preference for solitude was associated with more negative emotion. We found a strong negative correlation between negative emotion and solitude preference when participants recorded their experience during time spent with others. This means that if the social environment was not rewarding or experienced as negative, our participants preferred to be alone instead. This is presented in the panel on the right. What is interesting is that if you look at the graph on the left, even during time when participants were alone, experiencing negative emotions still correlates with preferring to be alone rather than wanting to be with other people. This suggests to us that people desire solitude in times of emotional distress. We replicated this finding with other measures besides negative emotions, such as measures of loneliness or daily social stress. There's been a lot of literature showing that we seek social contact for comfort in times of distress, but we haven't considered solitude as also an alternative and adaptive response. Solitude allows us the space to process those negative experiences in our own privacy. Our finding was particularly salient for younger people, and they reported desiring solitude not only because they wanted to get away from other people and the world, but also because in solitude, they had more freedom to do what they wanted, to relax and rest, or to reflect on themselves. There are benefits of solitude that we haven't fully understood, but it is important to consider that it is a natural response and it's a common experience. I hope this talk has encouraged you to reflect on the time you spend alone, what makes it meaningful and beneficial, and what makes it less enjoyable. Remember, solitude isn't the same as loneliness or isolation. It can take many different forms. If you're interested in exploring this further, feel free to visit our website. We share blog posts that invite reflection on solitude and the many factors that shape our experience in it and of it. So thank you for your time.